We're getting a new Fire Emblem soon, Fortune's Weave, and it looks like it's gonna have a bunch of cool new mechanics. And, in fact, modern Fire Emblem has pretty regularly been stuffed full of ridiculous tools, like Gambits in 3 Houses, Emblem Rings in Engage, or Pair Up on the 3DS. And it can be very satisfying to use these complex systems, pushing them to their maximum, and gaining as much advantage as you can. But sometimes all of these skills and systems and wacky features can feel a little bit overwhelming. Sometimes I just want a nice old-fashioned dose of GBA nostalgia. And thankfully, there's somewhere I can turn to for that. No, I'm not talking about replaying Sacred Stones for the umpteenth time, but instead an entirely new campaign. Fire Emblem 7 Siblings, the latest ROM hack that I dove into. Truth be told, 7 Siblings isn't exactly a new ROM hack, but it was fun enough and such a polished experience that I felt it was appropriate to highlight it here on my ROM hack reviews. Fire Emblem 7 Siblings aims to be a mechanically vanilla Game Boy Advance game, similar to Fire Emblem 6, 7, or 8, albeit with some quality of life features added in, such as viewing global enemy ranges, or the option to play on casual mode if you're not a fan of permadeath. And honestly, the best elevator pitch I can give for this game is if you're a fan of Fire Emblem 6, 7, or 8 and want a new experience that is similar enough to those, this really delivers on that. Albeit with, in my opinion, much better map design and more interesting unit design than any of the vanilla GBA games offer. Although, it's worth noting, as the game has no skills, the unit design comes down to stats, class, weapon type, and occasionally personal weapons. Some of my personal favorites included the bow-wielding thief, who has high resistance and is therefore perfect for fighting mages on enemy phase, the pre-promoted warrior with a personal bow of 2-3 range and really high might, and the early game armor knight, who's really the only tank you have for the first few chapters. But with such a large cast, there's plenty of interesting faces to choose from. So whether you like bow flyers, halberdiers, ests, or anything in between, there's sure to be some characters you are instinctively drawn towards. And the great thing about this game's structure is you can use a large number of the units in a single playthrough. Because, you see, while standard maps typically have around 12 to 14 deployment slots, there are occasional big battles, usually marking the end of an act in the story. And these large battles have up to 20 units you can deploy, which means you can make use of the majority of your recruited units and get a feel for how everyone plays before deciding on who your favorites are going to be. The increased deployment slots also make these missions feel suitably epic, which is appropriate for the points in the story that they're highlighting, such as burning all of the supplies in an enemy camp or desperately defending a throne while you are under attack by unknown assailants. Although, speaking of important points in the story, I did want to highlight that as another one of 7 Siblings' strengths. Because while the overall war narrative is your fairly standard Evil Empire Fire Emblem story, I think the tale is elevated by the emotional stakes of a family drama featuring the titular 7 siblings and their 2 parents, one of whom is estranged to them. Both through the main story's dialogue and optional talk conversations available on most maps, you get to know the personalities of these 7 siblings and the struggles that they have in their life and acceptance within and without the family. It's good stuff, and I think this emotional core really does do service to a story much better than a military drama would. But aside from that, I don't really have much to say about 7 Siblings. It's a shot of nostalgia for those of us who love the GBA, And even if you joined Fire Emblem at a different time than the adventures of Roy, Elliewood, and Erica, I think Seven Siblings has enough to offer that the modern fan should consider checking it out. It's just that good. But you know what else is pretty darn good? My patrons. So, thank you to Logs, Glup Shido, Erica Ford, Perg Knight, YLO1, George Grenville the 7th PM, Jamie Collins, Arvis, Floahay, Amy Hazel, Hungry Heart, Hound Dogs, Burnt to Cinders, Crimson Claw, Fork King, Sarah, Ziggy WSB, Derek, Shinthia, Faulty Videos, Kyle Madison, Derek Williams, Anna Cabana, The Daily Fugle, Faye, Magic Vite, Thoughtful Insanity, Robin Goodfeller, JT Spreader, Laura Hunter, Jonathan Durbin, Dragonback Lancer, Dysike, Chris, Root Beer Pants, Queen Elizam, Controlled Aegis, Roman Kromantic, Nick Knack Hammersmack, Angel Nap Caceres, Zanwif, Not Gino, name number 5, Squid Stats, Big Fan of Bishop Clement, Derek, Flingon, Edward C., Cabbage, Caius Cole, Bree, Punchfighter Champion, Eggman, Maxine the Vampire Queen, Sardonic Muse, Wesley Toma, Sensitive Luigi, Rage, Dr. Frying Pan, Toon, Turzy P, Femtal Illness, Wannabe Cinnabon, Key the Iron Idol, Jackson McMahon, Saren Galaxy, Rezi, Dino Anna, Alex Erie, Andu, Ria, Gameboo, Carosa, Fyron, Your Doctor, KH, Siggy MC, Girl Boss, Lizard Bong Water, Christopher Bueno, Marin McLean, Jaden, Dylan Solis, Some Trades, Celery Whore, Smaz Ruby, Robin D, Alenby, Daythom, Clan, Pillow Willow, Gabe the Green, Guigi555, Kristen Nail, and especially my Jagans, Autumn, Maritas Bacon, and Wildcard. I am truly grateful for your support, especially as my output has kind of slowed thanks to being sick most of last month. I promise I'm playing catch up. We're gonna have a lot of stuff, especially with Fortune's Weave coming out soon. If you want to join this list of names and get access to fun perks like early videos, behind the scenes clips, and all sorts of other bonuses, there is a link to my Patreon down below where you can support me for as little as $3 a month. But if that's too much to ask, no worries, I don't want anyone going broke over Fire Emblem. Free ways to support me include liking, subscribing, commenting, hyping, all that YouTube stuff. But regardless of what you choose to do, I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe, gamers.